Welcome back to the Beyond the Bestseller podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Schuknecht, and today's guest is Marcy Axelrod, author of How We Choose to Show Up. Marcy, I'm super excited to talk to you. I told you right when we got on before we started recording that I feel like I needed this message first thing in the morning today. So talk to me about how we choose to show up and why you wrote this book.
Good morning, Kelly. And thank you so much. What an honor to be on your show today. Why I wrote the book. It's an interesting question. Did I write the book or did the book write me? You see, when what you're doing is your calling, it just comes out of you, but really it's how you're being. I've always loved communicating through the written word. It probably has something to do with my stuttering and not being able to communicate fluently when I was young. But the written word, shepherds you to distill what are you actually thinking? What is the idea there? What is it that you're called to put out there? So I think that's why, the book wrote me, and that's why it exists. The fact that it became a bestseller instantly in three categories. I mean, that was kind of an interesting story. I hadn't gone to Amazon. I didn't even know that it was officially published. And the publisher said, "Which one of these do you choose?" And I opened up, and it was two icons, one of which was this bestseller icon that maybe you can see here, with the one in the middle, and the other was kind of a different bestseller icon. And I'm like, okay, I guess the book's out there. But I struggled to show up as I chose when I was 6. And my throat locked as a result of moving and, out of the blue, like new house, new friends, new everything, mom and dad busy, not getting the attention I needed in that transition. And I mean, from there, just started to endlessly devour psychology and neuroscience and all of that because I shut down how I was showing up because I didn't like dragging everyone down. In class, my hand goes up and everyone says, "Oh no, the teacher's going to have to call on Marcy." They felt me and I felt them feeling me. And like the messages in all of this were not separate. We are drops of water in the same ocean. The fact that, I mean, Kelly, right now, you're feeling me. I'm feeling you, feeling me. I got all these messages and I said to myself, I'm causing pain for me and for this is not okay. So I cleaved that off my self lens. So I'm like looking at my hands, which are cupped, like as if this is a mirror. And my self lens said, yuck. So I turned it outward. And I said, if I can't show up as I choose, I'm just going to endlessly study how is everyone else showing up. And back then, you got the bully over there. I'm 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and the scaredy cat over there, and the educators focused on their own thing and not helping. And it just kind of became my thing that there's no roadmap. There's no blueprint. How are we designed by nature to show up? We are not in nature. We are nature. Why is it that just listening to the ocean for 10 seconds changes our physiology? Why is it that being in the redwoods, this is the study that Dacher Keltner of the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley did. There's this great redwood forest behind UC Berkeley. And he just brought people out there and just let them stare around for 10 minutes. And then, having to knock some paper clips off his desk. And all of a sudden they go down and they pick them up. Not only are they more helpful, but, they picked up more than the people who were kind of sent off to do something else, not in the redwood. Anyway, that's what led me on this endless, study. I do research. It's been going on over 20 years now. I do endless interviews, discussions, and I put surveys out there. How are you showing up? What does it mean to you? What gets in your way? What would be helpful? So, I've developed kind of this database, hundreds of thousands of data points about this. And, a model arose of how we're designed to show up. I put 3 levels on it. We can get into the 3 levels from a neuroscience perspective, emotional perspective, spiritual perspective, intellectual, cognitive perspective, lived experience perspective, any of that. I go very deep, even though it starts at a very superficial 3 levels, and we're in 3 roles. Anyway, I'll stop there. We can get into any of this, but that's why I wrote the book. It's literally the reason I'm on the planet, is to get out there the truth, Kelly, about how humans are designed to show up.
Love it. Well, I love what you said about, did I write the book or did the book write me? I recently finished the first draft of my book, which by the time this episode comes out, my book will be out, but it's called oh my gosh, The Authority X Factor. And I feel the same way. Like, I feel like it came out so easily because it was the story that I needed to share and what I needed to put out into the world and what I can help people with. And, so it really came out very easily. So, but going back to kind of, you talked about being 6 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old, like, when did this book come out of you? Like, at what point did you say, like, okay, I've learned this, starting at 6 years old, and now I need to put this into something to teach other people what I've learned?
Huh. A lot of people would give you a tactical question. Well, I actually sat down to write in 2018, and it was kind of done in, I mean, I guess my years were for this book, my second book was probably, I don't know, it was 3 years, 22 to 2025, but like, that's irrelevant. Like, when did someone actually start to write a book? Everything we do, Kelly, every moment is the result of everything we have experienced in our entire lives, right? And then there's the epigenetics before that have wired us to be predisposed to do certain things. So, you can say the book came out of me in 3 years. But why did I decide to do that next global study about how people show up? That preceded the actual writing. The book I wrote before this on your game, that was like my like, beta test book. How do I live through this experience? What was it like to find a publisher and set of partners and editors and all of this to help me get out there? So I hope I've answered your question, but I don't believe that someone just sits down and writes a book. Like, either it's in them all the while or it's not. And we're endlessly writing books. I mean, if my child isn't one of my greatest novels, I sure hope she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it's the written word, the spoken word, or whether it's how you feel in my presence, like, we're endlessly creating everything that's out there. Call it a book because it's in this form. Okay. But I feel like it's so much more. Like, this is a channel. Sure. This is an incarnation of my energy. That's what our books are. And if you view your writing that way, your writing will show up to you differently. If you view the discipline needed to get your thoughts clear, that way it will show up to you differently. And also ask yourself, is this my calling? Or am I checking a box because I'm trying to sell something? I'm actually not, which is why it's coming out of me this way, right?
Right.
And so everyone's always writing books, and everyone's always writing books in different forms. And if someone wants to write a physical book like this in the classic way of what a quote book is, that's fine. I can certainly talk about that and help people understand my path. But I hope I've shared some insight there about when I wrote this book.
Okay. Well, so what about the 3 levels that you showed for people who are listening? They can't see that, but you did show kind of a scale of 1, 2, 3, right? From red to green,
Right.
and a yellow in the middle. How are you choosing to show up? So talk to me about what that means and how people can use that.
Right. So I've already given you a flavor, right? Showing up is existential. Okay. We are showing up every moment of every day, even if we're sitting on the heater in our closet, which is something I've been doing recently because it's 3 degrees outside. And we're not pulling through a 6-continent supply chain on Amazon or ordering things. We're not posting. We're not like, we aren't interacting with anyone. We are always showing up because there's a thought, where there's an emotion and there's energy that's going out, which is designing the world. I know I'm getting into quantum physics here, which I've studied. We can put that on the side. Anyone interested can be in touch. With the 3 levels, what I've done is like, look, quality levels are inherent in everything in life. They're inherent in how a company shows up. They're inherent in brands. They're inherent in that tree that's outside, right? So I put a simple 1, 2, 3 on it. Every day we go through some level of barely there, like you're just damn checked out. There's an active version of that. There's a passive version. You want to make it a place you visit, not a place you live, right? What my research shows 80% of us do 80% of the time is just show up. It's actually orange. It's
Okay.
that vast no man's land between barely there and truly showing up. And that is a danger zone. And we can talk about what that is. And then there's a level 3, which is truly showing up. Levels 1, 2, 3. I made it really simple. I could have made it 10, 50, like it doesn't matter. I made it 3 because people relate to some version of low, medium, high. And there's a lot going on at each level. If you want to, bottom line, if you want to live with a sense of meaning, you want to really impact the world, and you want everything that you call success to just show up for you, right? You've got to live in some version of through me, which is truly showing up. And what it means is that you're in all 3 of our roles. We're not just an individualized self. Like everything in life is in 3 roles. Okay. You're some version of individual self, which is actually an all individual. We can talk about that. Like, what is self anyway? That's a whole nother podcast, right? So you're in some version of ego-driven, individualized self, but you're also in some version of right here. You're a situation member. So Kelly, like, as I mentioned before, you're changing me. I'm changing you. You're literally making my oxytocin go up, my cortisol go down. There's a depth of presencing here. And when we look into each other's eyes, literally our brain waves are resonating as a single wave. So there's a situation member role that's huge, and we're co-creating each other. So we can talk more about that. That's our second role. So you say, well, wow, there's 2 roles. I kind of get that. What's our third role? You can infer this. Everyone knows this. We're all a member of something well beyond ourselves. You're a member of a family, a religion, a race, an ethnicity, a company, a sports team, a tribe, a school system, right? A community. You're a member of something well beyond yourself. And what does that mean? It helps you feel a sense of belonging, which we need to survive, right? We all evolved in tribes. We weren't individuals out there wandering. We were in a tribe. So we're a part of something well beyond ourselves. And you say, well, what does all this mean? When you're truly showing up, you know you're impacting the world, and you show up that way. And the way that you do it is through this contact point. Your societal member role, your self member role come together in the right here, right now. That's your situation member role. And it might sound intellectual as I describe it, but the bottom line is we all know that we all feel this. When you come home and your child's coming home from school, and you're already with that person because you're wondering, how was their day? Like before you go and say hi, there's some version of withness, and you're living more in your societal member role with someone who's not actually with you because you're thinking about them and you're feeling them. I hope their basketball practice went okay because I know he wants to start for this big game coming up, whatever it may be. Or before you walk into the meeting, you're feeling what that colleague might think about you, or what you're in some version of either truly showing up, of I'm caring about this person or these people or what I'm about to do, or some version of, one of these 4 things. I need to be seen a certain way. Level 2, just showing up. I deserve this. And they're going to talk about who gets to lead the next project coming down the pike, and I deserve it. Level 2, right? Just showing up. You need to be seen as I deserve. I'm lesser than. The boss doesn't think I'm doing a great job, or I'm stressed about this, or something bad's gonna happen, or let's see, there's a 4th one: lesser than, better than. A lot of kind of women have the insecurity verb going on, and men turn it around. I'm better than, right? Anyway, this is just an example of what the 3 levels are. Every moment of every day, we're bouncing around some of these levels. Ideally, people are kind of bouncing here, and I'm showing like where just showing up turns into truly showing up. You feel it when you're deeply there, when you're feeling someone else. What it does is it turns down the ego, it turns up the heart. And what it leads to is just miraculous. It leads to that person feeling a sense of emotional safety. Then they can be authentic. Oh my God, like talk about the biggest gift we can give is I'm safe for you. So what a lot of people ask before they walk into a moment, a meeting, anything, because they're kind of in a rush is, how can I be my best here? It's me outward. Turn it around like I did when I was 6. How do you want others to feel in your presence? That moves you from just showing up to truly showing up. And I'm going to pause here, but I can tell a story where people will really viscerally understand what does the transition look like. But
Yeah.
what I will just mention quickly is when you're truly showing up, this is when, not only does someone feel safe with you, but they start to trust you because they feel your care. That's when your phone rings and someone says, Kelly, I need some advice on something and you came to mind. Do you have a few minutes? Or, our team needs an expert to come in and help us work with this. Is this something that your company does? This is when the opportunities show up. And this is when you feel better about it. Like instead of all the crap in people's minds that hold them back, instead of fear, you start to live more in love. And like the whole world opens to you. And that success that you wanted starts to just show up. That's level 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so many things are going through my mind as you're talking, like thinking about, so I think I keep going back and forth between like physically showing up, like how you're physically showing up and how you're mentally showing up, right? Because I think of like that scale that you had, like the level 1
Yeah.
being like the doom scrolling time of my day where it's like I'm not like what was it barely there or whatever, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to anyone, right? Like but that's kind of more of like my emotional state, not my, how I'm how I look and feel whatever. So, but your book talks about kind of both, right? Like the physical sense of showing up and also kind of your mental or emotional state of showing up.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yes, and
All
beyond.
the things.
Yeah, so physical and mental are labels that people use as if that encompasses everything, and it doesn't. A very superficial level of quote knowing is is mental, is the thinking cognitive world. You can think I would be healthier if I lost these 20 pounds. You can think that all day long. You can think I shouldn't, like, forget it. Does that ever work? Like, does anyone lose weight just by thought? No. Um, the physical you mentioned, I'm going to put my gym shoes next to my bed so that I just kind of have this new behavior of putting my gym shoes on. So now I'm going to go for a walk instead of, putting a ton of cream in my coffee and just sitting there like I'm too tired to move. Um, okay. I don't believe in a behavioral approach to behavior change. So the physical and mental gets you only so far. I think it's a really hard kind of by me way to live. Like I'm just going to get on the treadmill and force things. There's a far more embodied. It's mind, it's body, but it's also heart based. It's a spiritual. It's a far deeper understanding about how the world works. So showing up. Let me just define it because so when you have those 3, the change just happens. So that's what I'm getting at. You live more through me, right? So there's like the to me model. And this I learned from Peter Sage. Thank you, Peter. He talks about the victim mode. It's to me. The external world is happening to me and I'm a victim. There's nothing that I can do. Then there's the by me. You're on the treadmill. I know I can get the promotion. I'm going to work harder and faster and better and put out more social posts, whatever the hell it is. Yuck. Can you say burned out, unmeaningful? And then you get there and it's like, oh my God, like I'm miserable. And then there's the through me. The through me is like, you actually understand how life works. So
Hmm.
my book explains there are different ways of attending to the world. And by the way, what is the world? Like, what is the world that we're even talking about? So here I like to talk about what Einstein mentioned because people kind of, think, that's probably true. He asked us, is this a mean, negative world? Or is this a really kind, caring world? Which is it? Kelly, what do you think?
Well, I think that I don't know. I mean, right now, this is not coming out for a little while, but right now, the state of our country is pretty chaotic, right? And uh, I like to think that it's a kind, caring world. That's what I like to think. And we kind of live in the other place, I think.
Yeah, I mean, at any moment you can answer either way. There's
Yeah.
obviously support for both. But I mean, Einstein really understood universal patterns, right? And how things work, right? And there's a lot of other Nobel winning physicists who also believe what Einstein said. He said, this isn't a kind world. No, it's not a mean one either. It's a self reflective world,
Okay.
meaning how you show up to the world is how it shows up for you. So
Yeah.
if you believe there's only one senior manager role, and come December, there's a decision being made, and there's 3 people on the team, and we're all busting our ass trying to get there. And I'm competing with this person who I'm supposed to be collaborating with and coming up with creative thoughts for the project. It's really hard to do your best to be creative, to feel good as a human if you're competing with the person who's next to you. And by the way, there's a problem there because, like, they're kind of a nice person and you really care about them. And you know that their daughter was sick. And the first thing that you want to ask is, how's Jamie feeling? But there's this conflict, right? Because somehow you have to be against them. So the way the world really works, right? And this actually gets to your question about how do you really learn something? With your mind, your body. What you truly want to do is recognize if you continue to harbor the competitiveness, the I'm on a treadmill, the only so there's only so much room at the top. You're competing against yourself because what you then create is someone who feels that energy from you. Kelly, I really like working with you, but like, to be really frank, like, I'm just feeling an edge in your energy. Who's going to be authentic enough to really say that, right? But I'm trying to demonstrate on this on your show, like, people will feel that, but they won't necessarily be conscious of it. And then the
Yeah.
daughter's birthday comes up and she's feeling better, and he wants to invite a few colleagues from the office, and like, there's a little rub. I kind of want Kelly to come. I can't really exclude her. I don't really want Kelly to come. When she comes, it's like, it doesn't feel so good because I'm kind of investing in something that doesn't feel so good, and I can't really talk about it because I don't really understand it because people are busy. So, like, you live your life that way, and then it's like, does it feel meaningful, or does it kind of feel like it's hollow? I spend a ton of time with these people, but like, they're not really my friends. Do you want your life to be that way? So let's circle back to your question about, the physical and the mental and what does the body get to? The body gets to or what does the book really get to? The book gets to the existential. The book gets to, what do you fundamentally believe about the world? Because when you really write it down, your life will change, right? And because this is a generative, kind, caring universe. If it wasn't, it wouldn't exist. And the examples are everywhere. Everywhere you look at nature. Why do the flowers bloom? Why do the trees exist when it's -2 degrees outside? Why did they give us the oxygen that we breathe? Why does the sun shine on us and create us? It's not because it's meant because everything's competing. What if the sun was competing with the trees? Like, is every blade of grass looking at each other? There's only one slot for promotion, and I'm going to get it.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe that. I believe, I think it's so true that we have to be, it's a mindset thing, right? And training your mind to um choose to show up in a certain way. So
Truly.
do you give a tool or a tip in the book on how to, so like I've heard a lot from you about like the I don't know, the ways that we show up, right? And being aware of that. But then is there something that if you're in that one end of the scale, the one, how do you get to the three?
Right. So if you're in barely there, which hopefully is just a place you visit and don't live, most of us live in some version of level two
Two,
most of the
yeah.
time and then
Yeah,
kind of
I can see
visit
that.
level three. Um, so the answer is, so how do you transition? First, let me just comment on a word that you used. You said mindset. It's a mindset. Let me be very clear. Mindset doesn't change anything. Mindset doesn't, you know, if you want to live in a purely cognitive world, okay. But if you want to live in a deeply meaningful world where you're here for a reason and you get up because damn it, you matter. And I always talk about how our energy, like all of us moves 3 levels deep in society. I mentioned the work of Nicholas Christakis in both of my TED Talks. And anyway, I'll reference that in just a minute. If you really want to get to who you're designed to be, it is a lived experience. What you want to do is be that person. So start with writing down, I am now X, and live it. What does that person think? So you help people with speeches and promotions, and you help authors. So give me a sense of what goals what's your top goal that you're focused on? And I'll use that as an example.
Sorry, goal for
Anything,
what? Like business though? A business goal?
whatever goal. Tell me something that you're working on that you want to improve. You want to truly show up and make it happen.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that I mentioned my book. So I have the book coming out, The Authority X Factor. And one of my goals is when the book comes out, I also want to launch a course on how to build your personal brand. Does that
Okay.
give you one to go with?
Yes. And
Okay.
so you want to do that. And then what does that mean for you? What's your why in all this?
The why for me is over the last year and a half since I started my business, I have a lot of I have seen that my message has resonated with smaller business owners, with women who are solopreneurs, who are just who are kind of DIYing everything, like they're doing everything themselves. And often, yeah, and I mean that's like a lot of
That's only
women.
partially true, but okay. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but so my message when I go out and talk, I go out and speak on personal branding and thought leadership, and women are like drawn to it. But typically they can't afford my services because the services that I offer are, for they're it's not like it's not expensive, but it's not cheap, right? Like so I wanted to have an offering for that group of people where it's like, here's something that can teach you how to do what you need to do to get to where you want to get. And I have been the example of that in starting my business and what I've done in the last year. So it's like, I want to teach other people how to do it and give them something that they can do it themselves in a way that is affordable and something that they can do on their own.
Got it. So you're now in the future. You're 3 years in the future. And what I want people to do is write down, you are 3 years in the future. And all of this has come to pass, everything and more. It's 10 times more successful than you ever thought. Where are you? Are you on a stage? Are you in a room? Are you speaking to the 10 people who report to you, who you manage in your business? All of these thoughts and visions will come to you. How do you feel? Right? What are the challenges that you're facing then? But how does it feel to be that, to have achieved everything, to be the model for your kids that you want to be the model for the other women, to, oh goodness, your phone just rang. It's someone who you helped 3 years ago, who's calling to let you know that they've achieved their goals 10 times over. What I'm saying is you live it. And the reason that you live it is because you're putting the energy out there that's designing all of this to come to pass, right? What Niels Bohr and a lot of the physicists showed, and this is in the double slit experiment and lots of stuff that happened almost 100 years ago now, is that basically things are energy is a wave before it's a particle. So what you're doing is putting your energy out there in the form of a wave, your thoughts, your emotions, how your body will literally shift and make you that person. And the energy that you've put out there turns the waves into the Cartesian world, the particle, the physical world, and it will show up for you. And I don't want this whole thing to be about, quote, manifesting in any way. This is actually quantum physics. But as you envision that and write it down, you are taking dozens and dozens of steps toward knowing, here's what I need to go do right now. So maybe the ideas that come to mind are, instead of one-on-one, I'm going to do a class with 20 people. And it's going to be online, and I'm going to mention it through LinkedIn. And the first time I'm going to just say, here's a date. I'm doing this class. Anyone can show up. This is free, right? Maybe one person shows up. Fine. Maybe 10 people show up. Fine. But you do it again. You do it again. You do it again. For each person who shows up, you say, like, hey, would you mention this to 5 others who you know? Or, might you give me the name of a few people who you think might be, who might benefit from it, so that I can reach out? And that's what happens. And it just builds. But by living in your successful state, the ideas come to you that direct you. And people don't understand that. So what gets in the way, though, is that people's nervous system is in a just show up stressed mode. You have to be in alpha wave. You can't be in your beta, busy, get it done mode. If there's any stress in your life about, oh my God, my meeting starts in 5 minutes, I have to rush. I'm stressed about what my teenage daughter is doing. Oh my goodness, my relationship with my husband doesn't feel fulfilling. I'm not in the job I want to have. Oh my God, the bills are going up. If you're in any of that, the challenge is you're living in this stress, just show up mode. What the cortisol does, your creativity goes way down. Your health goes down. It makes you sick. You will fall into the repetitive pattern of what your body knows. And you're just this mechanical thing. You're a human doing. And you're just going to live yesterday again and again. Because what literally happens, this is the work of Ian McGilchrist now, a psychiatrist out of the UK. He's written thousands and thousands of pages about this. It's unbelievable stuff. What he shows is that when you're in this left hemisphere way of attending to the world, and we have 2 hemispheres that attend in totally different ways, in the left hemisphere just show up way of attending, you are literally representing the past into the now. There is no way you're going to achieve your goal because you're living what already happened. So someone walks in, and you've seen them thousands of times because you've worked with them for 5 years. And you already kind of know their vibe and who they are and what's on their mind and what they're going to say. And that's just what shows up. Or maybe like a very slight variant of that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not in the moment with them at all because you're not attending to the moment in a way that allows you to presence with what is. You are literally out of time, out of the flow of time. You're out of the flow of space. Nothing's flowing. You're stuck. If you were to listen to music, it would show up for you as that, right? And we're the stairway to heaven. and we're buying the stairway to heaven, not, and we're buying, right? You wouldn't hear a flow, you would hear staccato. So literally the world shows up for us as this, then this, then this, then this. When we're in get it done mode, that's level 2, just showing up. And you might feel like, I'm so productive, I checked all these boxes. Yeah, but what did it mean? So what truly showing up is doing, and this is one of the reasons, once again, it's not a mindset. It is a damn lived experience. Okay. It is all of it. And the divine entity that's in us, right? It is big. When we're truly showing up level 3, it's a right hemisphere experience. Now, what the right hemisphere is doing is it's in the flow. It feels time. You're not in a rush. When you're near someone, you feel what they like. You're a human being to me now. The only way I'm able to read the language of your body, and notice you just reset me. It was that fast, right? I switched hemispheres from some version of presentation mode. I was thinking about my ideas. My ideas were flowing, and it was in my tone. It was shaping my body. I was getting ideas out. But now, Kelly, I'm far more with you. And now you're the parent you want to be. Now you're the leader you want to be. Now you're the successful business owner, already achieving what you want. So anyway, I'm going to stop there, but this right hemisphere living, this is what everyone wants. This is a meaningful life, right? It's why Mel Robbins wrote at the top, Marcy Axelrod reveals the roadmap you need to live a purpose-driven life. Not the, I've been on a treadmill for 15 years. What the hell? I'm unhealthy. I'm estranged from my husband or wife. My kids kind of, maybe they'll spend time with me if they feel like it. Like, that's not how we're designed.
Yeah.
That's not the natural state of a human. Disconnected, disembodied, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for my long answers, but I mean, you're at
No, it's great. That's great. I love listening to you. I will wrap us up though with, I'm going to ask a kind of a wrap up question. I know you covered this a little bit, but I do want to hear from you on what was Beyond the Bestseller for you. So you talked at the beginning about this book writing you, and the message that you learned and that you were sharing. But what really is your why? Why did you put this book out into the world? And who, like, how did you want to impact people with it?
Yeah. So this is the picture on the cover of the puzzle box. A lot of people talk about pieces of the puzzle. Basically, my why is the model of how humans are designed to show up came to me. Like, I put it together through studying, what everyone else is teaching. What I did is I put it together. A lot of people are saying the same things that I'm saying, right? About how to move through the world in a mindful, present, meaningful way. I added the neuroscience component in. I added the quantum physics component in. So, I mean, my why is that people are suffering. And I feel that this provides a ton of answers. And I know that it does, because I get messages from people like, Marcy, this changed my life. I used to do X, now I do Y. So that is my why. And I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel for getting these ideas out there.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm doing this.
Love that. Well, thank you, Marcy, for sharing your book and for writing it, for it writing you. One final thing, just for listeners or viewers who want to learn more about you, we'll link to your book in the show notes, but how else can folks connect with you or learn more about what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, it's easy. ChooseToShowUp.com is the website. I also have, I never talk about this, but I also create visual art as a way of truly showing up. So I've got Marcy Axelrod art. That's Instagram. You can DM me. But the book's on Amazon. But please be in touch. I'm easy to find. There's a contact page on ChooseToShowUp.com. And I love hearing from people.
Great. Well, thank you, Marcy. Thanks for sharing your book. And like I said, this was a great start to my day today, reminding me to show up as my true self, even when I maybe don't feel perfect today, but we're going to get through it. So thank you.
Looking for a community of women writers to support and inspire you on your journey? Join the Author Power Circle. Connect weekly with fellow authors, stay accountable, and move your book forward in an encouraging community. Learn more at kellyschuknecht.com.